Hello and welcome to another lesson of Python programming for beginners. In this lesson we will learn about while loop in Python. Here while loop is very similar to C, and Java. As always, while loop requires predefined variables. With the while loop we can execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. So let's see how we can execute. So let's define the while loop first. So as we know, we need to have a set of predefined variables first. So let's define a variable. So I'll declare a variable, let's say I equals to 1. I'll define it initially I equals to 1, and then let's say while I less than, I'll say for an example 10. Okay, so while I less than 10 or like that, or whatever you want. Okay, so we can just use I less than 10. Then I'll say print I. Okay, so let's print the value of I, and let's say I I'll say plus equals 1. Okay, so whatever you want to add it. Okay, so if you define it like this, this is basically your definition. This is basically your initialization as you write it in C, and Java. Okay, so this is your initialization. Then here is your condition. Okay, so this is your condition, and here you can use the increment or the decrement. Okay, so here we have used the increment. Okay, and I hope you know the why we use this. So whenever you say okay plus equals to, this means okay if I don't use this plus, this exactly means this. Okay, so if I say I equals to I plus equals to 1, that means I equals to I plus 1. Okay, so we can write it like this. Okay, so when I say I plus equals to 1, that means I equals to I plus 1. Okay, so that's how we can simply write it. So let's execute this piece of code first so that we can understand what output we are getting. So that's how it's printing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So as every time, okay, it will go up to the end index, it will go up to the end position or end index, and it will not print that. Okay, so end index -1 or end position -1 as always. Okay, then let's see how we can use the another thing with the uh, while loop. So let's say how we can use the break. Okay, so how we can use the break in while. Okay, so let me add a small blank print statement first so that we can just differ. Okay, I equals to 1 again, and sorry, yeah. So let's write I equals to 1. Then while let's change the value, I'll say I less than 5. Okay, I less than 5, and let's keep it short now, and I'll say print I. Okay, but what we will do is we will add the condition now. So let's say if I equals okay 3, if I equals 3, let's break. Okay, let's break. Okay, so that's how we can add, and here we will say I plus equals, let's say 1. Okay, so we can simply write it like this. Okay, and if I run this piece of code now, let's see the output. So you can see here 1 2 and 3, we can see we are getting 1 2 and 3. Okay, so it stopped on 3. Okay, it's not going for 4 and 5, it's not going for 4 and 5. Okay, so let's see another example how we can use the continue. Okay, so we will use the continue keyword here. Okay, so similarly it will be very similar to this. So let me copy the code. Okay, so let me copy that code here. Okay, and paste it, but I'll change a small thing here. Instead of printing this statement here, instead of printing it here, okay, so let's use this statement afterwards, or let's say before this. Okay, and like this. Okay, so instead of break now I'll use continue. Okay, instead of break now we will use continue. Okay, so we can just start it like this. Okay, and let's give it a run. Let's see the output. So here you can see 1 and 2 is printed, 1 and 2 is printed, but it's not printed this other stuff. Okay, so it stopped on 3, it stopped on 3. Okay, I hope you can see that. Okay, so it stopped on 3. So it stopped here on 3. I had to stop here on 3. I had to interrupt that, so I stopped here because it wasn't continuing on that. Okay, and now there's an error, so we have to make small changes here. So let's see that now. As you could see here, it wasn't printing that, so we'll make a small change here. Okay, I just wanted to show you that how does it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just add this statement here. I'll just statement here so that it works properly. Okay, and I'll start it from 0 so that we can see the output, okay, properly. Let's run this piece of code again so that you can understand that. Okay, so as you can see here, 1 2 4 and 5 we can see now. 1 2 4 and 5 we can see now. Okay, but it hasn't printed the 3. Okay, so it stopped on 3 or it skipped the 3. Okay, so it skips the current iteration and jumps on the another one. Okay, I hope you have understood that that how we can use the continue with the while loop. Now let's just understand how we can use the while loop. Okay, or how we can use the else in while loop. Okay, so using else. Okay, so let me copy the old code first, or let's take any of the example. Okay, so let's take this example and I'll change it. Okay, so yeah, I don't want this if block here. I'll just remove this if block here, so we'll just keep it simple. So it's that simple to it's very similar to the first one. So we used, let's say, I equals to 1, then I less than 10. So here I equals to 1 and I less than 5. So we are just taking a small example, and then print I and I equals to 1. Okay, but now similar to the for loop, okay, I can use else part here and it will execute once the while loop is executed completely. Okay, so let's print that message. Let's say while loop executed successfully. Okay, so like that we'll just print it. Okay, and let's see the output here. So as you can see, 1 2 3 4 5 1 1 2 3 4 and while loop executed successfully. Okay, so we haven't used a blank print here, that's why it's not taking a space. Okay, so I'll just add this, and now if I execute that again, I hope you can see that. So 1 2 3 4 and while loop executed successfully. So that's how it will work. Okay, so I hope you have understood that properly now, so how we can use the while loop in Python. See you in the next lesson.